Summer is here, and it's time to do a fun project that you can do with the kids. Do you remember these from when you were a kid? Well, I'm going to show you a special technique where you can make these out of soap. That didn't work. Join me this week on Soap Queen TV in this special episode as I show you how to use a special technique to make fun, bendy soaps. Our perfect pinwheel soaps, we're going to need two different layers. So first, melt around 3 ounces of white soap in the microwave. And the secret to making pinwheel soaps? Liquid glycerin. So we're going to use 10% liquid glycerin in our white melted soap base. I just eyeball it. Once the liquid glycerin is added, add fragrance. This time I'm going to use pineapple cilantro. Pineapple cilantro is a perfect summer fragrance. It's just sweet enough, but the cilantro adds a special note that makes it unique. Stir this in well. Then pour a very, very, very thin layer, about 1/8 of an inch thick, into the bottom of a brownie or silicone baking pan. You can get these at brambleberry.com for $9.99. You only want 1/8 of an inch for your layer. You want it very, very thin. Spritz this with rubbing alcohol to make sure there's no bubbles, and you're done. Now, wait around 7 minutes to make sure that your soap is hard. While this first layer is setting up, I'm going to work on the second layer. And I'm going to show you a secret for making bright, bright colors opaque. For the second layer, I'm going to be starting with a base of clear soap. Remember to add your liquid glycerin and add your fragrance. The secret to getting bright soaps turning opaque instead of just pastel, watch this. I'm going to do 9 or 10 drops of liquid non-bleeding colorant in a color of blue from Brambleberry. Now that we have a perfectly bright color of blue, it's time to make this opaque. The secret to making it opaque is just a little bit of white. Remember, too much white and you end up with a pastel. And that's perfect. It's a nice color of blue, it's bright, it's going to show a difference between the white bottom layer and the blue upper layer, and it's going to be opaque. So let's check that first layer. Looks perfect for pouring on. Spritz the first layer liberally with rubbing alcohol to make sure both layers adhere to each other. Then slowly pour your soap, and again you want it to be a 1/8 inch thick layer. Spray with rubbing alcohol again to get rid of any bubbles. Let this sit for around 7 minutes. Now that our soap is hardened, it's time to take it out of the mold. I love these rubber silicone molds because they're so easy to release from. And look at that, it looks just like taffy. It's flexible and bendy. You can either use a knife or you can use an X-Acto knife. I like to use an X-Acto knife, but you can use whatever you feel comfortable with. Now I'm going to cut this one large piece of soap into 4 smaller pieces. Once I have my 4 smaller pieces, it's time to make the cuts that will produce a perfect pinwheel. Take the small square, take your X-Acto knife or your regular knife, and cut through the soap from one end into the middle. Don't go past the middle. It's very important that you don't cut from one end to the other end. You want to leave a space in the middle so that the soap pinwheel parts can adhere to it. Now that you've finished cutting it, it's time to make your pinwheel. Are you ready to roll up? Roll gently and carefully from one corner into the middle. Notice how bendable and flexible your soap is because of that liquid glycerin? And there you have it, a perfect pinwheel. There's just one more finishing touch though. Everybody knows that pinwheels have a little tiny thing in the middle that makes it all stick together and look fun. So, there's 2 ways you can do this. One, you can use a scissor. These layers are so thin that scissors easily cut through the soap. Or, if you're super clever, you can use an X-Acto knife to freehand a round shape. Rub gently around the corners to get any of the sharper edges off or to make the soap look more like you want it to look. Take your object and put it into a little bit of clear soap. Just dip the bottom into it. Carefully and firmly affix it to the middle of your pinwheel. And there you go. Leave it there for 30 seconds and the clear soap will have glued this wonderful finishing piece onto your pinwheel. Cool, look, it's done. Stick a skewer in it and you're finished. If you've accidentally waited too long, say you got busy, check out what happens. That liquid glycerin doesn't keep your soap soft and supple for long. Wow, that went really quick. I have time to show you another project that you can do with liquid glycerin and bendy soap. You ready? I'm going to show you how to make fortune cookies. To make the perfect fortune cookie, we're going to use the same concepts that we did in the pinwheel soap, using clear and white to get the perfect color and liquid glycerin to make sure you get bendy soap. Let's get started. Melt your clear and your white soap in the microwave. Yes, you can melt them at the same time. Now that our clear soap and our white soap is melted, it's time to fragrance and use vanilla color stabilizer. If you don't remember how to use vanilla color stabilizer, refer to episode 7, where I discuss how to use UV inhibitor and vanilla color stabilizer. For this project, I'm going to do buttercream and snickerdoodle. I know it's not quite a fortune cookie fragrance, but I didn't have that, and buttercream and snickerdoodle smells awfully good. It is a vanilla-based fragrance, so it does need vanilla color stabilizer to keep it white, or in this case, fortune cookie colored. I'm going to do 3 milliliters of vanilla color stabilizer and 3 milliliters of fragrance. The perfect fortune cookie color is up to you, but for this project, I'm using Bramble Berries Peach Shimmer and Sparkle Gold Mica. 1 scoop of gold mica and 1 scoop of peach shimmer. Stir very well. And now that the mica is fully incorporated in, it's time to make the perfect fortune cookie color. Pour a little bit of the white into the clear, stirring the entire time. Now that you have the perfect color, it's time to add liquid glycerin. Again, for this project, we're going to be using liquid glycerin at 10%. I'm going to eyeball it. Just like in the pinwheels, we're going to be using the rubber brownie pan, and we're going to be pouring a very thin layer, 1/8 of an inch or less thick. Spritz the layer with rubbing alcohol to get rid of any bubbles. Now that you have this poured, wait 5 to 7 minutes for this layer to harden. Now that the layer is hardened, it's time to get it out of the mold. It's the beauty of these molds. They are so flexible. Just pull that sheet right out. Notice how great it is. It's so flexible right now. Now that it's time to make the fortune cookie soaps, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can freehand it using an X-Acto knife, or you can use a cookie cutter. Here's a round cookie cutter that I'm going to be using to get the perfect fortune cookie shape every single time. Gently peel out your circle, place it in the palm of your hand. Choose the fortune that you want to put in your soap. For me, let's see, I'm going to do, happiness is a choice, so choose to be happy. Fold this over. Notice that I have a little tunnel of soap, so you can see all the way from one end to the other. This is key. Take a round object, like a pen. All I have handy is an X-Acto knife, so it's a sharp object, probably not the safest, but it'll work in a pinch. Fold it over your pen, or in my case, an X-Acto knife, and there you go. Perfect fortune cookie. There are lots of options for taking the bendy soap concept and turning it into a fun family project. Whatever it is, I hope you have a fun time with your kids with these quality summer projects. Happy soaping! Summer's here, and it's time to have some fun with the kids. Do you remember these when you were a kid? I am afraid of it. I'm afraid of the sparkler.